Hello everyone, George here, and we're back inside of my implementation of Five Nights at Freddy's. And last we left off, I had finished off just about all the modeling. I'd done a crude job at texturing, and in this video we're going to go through the outliner, fix it all up, get our names down, and make sure this thing's ready to go into our main scene. However, there are some nasty bits here and there that we kind of need to deal with. Most notably the wires over here, as we can see, because the texture itself doesn't vary much. If we go back to Window, Modeling, and UV Editor, the texture used for these things has this undulation ripple, but really the undulations themselves don't seem to matter very much. So we kind of need to change things up a little bit. So one way of doing that is we're going to grab every other guy, something like that. And even this isn't going to be good enough because every other is still a pattern. And let's do a flip along the axis. So now it goes that way. So now we should have half of them with half of their bits on the top and the other half now on the bottom. And at least that's a little bit more out there. Now, I'm not a terribly huge fan of it in general. Maybe it'll look better with a bump map on it. And if we want to, why don't we give that a shot and see what that's like. So I'm going to launch a program called MindText 2, which I use on Steam, to take in diffuse height or other maps that I don't feel like taking the time to texture out, bring them in and convert them over into some form of a bump map, height map, or whatever it is I'm really working with. So let's go to, so within our Backstage, let's find the PNG for the wires. There we are. We load it in as a diffuse object. And there's what we get with the standard settings for a normal map or a bump map. Let's scroll on down really quick. I like this program a lot. It does a great job at very quickly making us normal maps for things that we just don't really want to deal with. So there we go. That's kind of what I'm dealing with. Let us, it looks like, do I have the diffuse off? Let's turn diffuse on so we get a sense of what's happening there. And let us make this a plane as well. So let's go to View and Model, actually. Go to Box Mode. I just want to see the side view of this with the light source. So let's move the light source a bit. I'm not getting a whole lot coming from this. Let's go with a cylinder. And yeah, I'm not getting much off that either. What if we invert it? So let's go back to maps. So there's the seam fix. Seams aren't really an issue for us. You can see how bad it is actually with this. The pattern itself makes a really nasty fix. Let's go ahead somewhere over here. Let's see. What I want to do is not be in diffuse. I want to be in normal. Now, if I put a normal fix on there, we still have the same issue. Let us, can I really push that a little bit? And there's a blending. So if we reduce the blending, we should get harsher, crisper lines. We can invert the map as well. Now we're not getting a whole lot that we can see with the inversion. I'm going to go back to diffuse, turn that off, so we get a better sense of what's happening here. So the light source is going to be now, let's move the light source to the top of the world using the right mouse button. And now we get a sense that the tops of, so those lines are good. Now let's scroll on down and do the inversion again. And we'll get a sense of, so now the wires are bumped out. Here the wires are bumped in. So I want to keep them bumped out. Now we can increase that intensity quite a bit. And I think I'm going to go with something like that. So I have my normal map finished. Let's go ahead and save this map out. We're going to do that under Textures and Backstage. I'm going to save that as a PNG because it's lossless. And there it is, wires underscore N. Or normal, or whatever you want, or bump. I'm going to just say underscore N norm. Let this thing save out. Once it's done, come back over to Maya, grab the object. Let's go to the attribute editor. Here we are. Go to the Backstage material. And actually what I want to do is we want bump mapping file. We want this as tangent space normals. The bump value is going to be dictated by a texture, and the file itself is going to be that bump map file. So let's find that. Textures, Backstage, wires norm. Whoops, I put that on the wrong thing, but you can quite clearly see that, huh? Okay, let's let's fix that. So I'm going to do this instead through the Hypershade since I botched everything all up. So let's see, backstage wires, bathroom wall. I want this texture, and let's see that thing's network. Whole network, please. There we are. This is the problem bit. So let's take this and delete that and move this off. And now I want the wires bit. So let's show that network, please. The whole network. Textures. Damn, did I lose the other bit? I hate when that happens. Okay, screw it. Let's do, select the object. We got our backstage wires. Let's do our map for normal mapping. Choose a file, value, file, wires norm. Go back to the bump node, make sure this is tangent space instead, close it out, and then just see if we're getting anything from this. Not seeing a whole lot here. It's such a small little thing. And it's so dark that I'm not really getting much of anything. If we do use all lights, window, I mean, fundamentally, we just might get to the point where it's, you know, it's not worth it. But anyway, let's put in a spotlight. Something like that. Yeah, I'm not getting anything. But it is so dark, and that's kind of what it's going to end up being like in the game. So if we went here to color, made this more of a blue, maybe not that blue, something like that maybe, and then we darken it. And then we duplicate that light and then have it come the other way. Like that. But then this intensity should be really low. In fact, it shouldn't even cast a shadow. That's what our room would look like. Okay, well, let's get rid of the lights. Let's go to our outliner, keep that open if we can, and let's nuke the lights. So that's you and you. Let's start cleaning things up. Go back to show or lighting, use default. There we are. And we now need everything to not be horribly named. So we have the backstage boundaries right here. We've got some cube stuff, so if I hit the F key, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna hit delete and hope it doesn't destroy anything. I'm gonna hit F for a group. Let's open that group up. We've got some cubes. What else do we have? Some transforms, which don't look like they do anything. Let's go to edit, delete all by type history. And that disappeared. Something did. Maybe it didn't. Delete that. I'm gonna save my scene. Actually, I'm gonna make sure I save this backstage 02. No, let's do 03. So I'm not losing anything. So these are our curves. The curves go to that. We don't need these anymore. Here's more NURB curves. And another one. And then we have our surfaces, which we no longer need as well. We have the table. Let's rename this to backstage underscore wires. Now, before we do anything with that, I'm having a problem with it. The normals, or the UVs, excuse me, are jacked going at one direction, and that is the top to bottom. So let's grab all of those and do a right click and a grow. Nope, that's not what I wanted. So let's just grab these ones here, 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 nope, here, and here. Now right click grow and grow again, and that should be all of those. And then let's do a UV planar from the front, which is going to be the Z-axis, and apply. There we go. Now it's going in the wrong orientation, so window, modeling, UV, and I want to rotate this, bam, bam, 90 degrees, so it kind of goes along with it that way. Okay, great. Now, Are these all combined? Yes, they are. So I should have just done it all at the same time. And actually, you know what? That is what I am going to do. So I'm going to grab all these faces, and then we are going to, this might be easier. Can I do it easier? No, that won't be easier. Let's just do it this way. Face mode, face mode. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And grow, grow. We now have everything. So let's go to our UVs, planar this, apply it, close it, and then now we can rotate it. There we are. Great. Is that great? Great enough? Okay, we'll go with it. So now that we have that, we can nuke these two. Take this one. We have not named this yet, have we? So edit, delete by type, history, and then call this backstage underscore shelves underscore 01. Great. Control D that, rotate it 90 degrees. W, move this to the back, and we don't have the pivot in a good place, so D to the back, snap it, move it up a bit, and move it off somewhere there, and then Control D this again, move this somewhere like there, and let's get rid of the last set of edges. Why not? Grab the ends of these and just pull them in. Oh, that was a mistake. I grabbed too much. So let's just grab these ones. There we are. Okay. Great. And that's that. So now we need to check out everything again and just make sure it's all named. So there's really not a whole lot going on here. I'm going to take all of this and bring it under Backstage Bounds. And we're going to go through that and begin naming things. So this is a polysurface group. It's got the floor and the ceiling. I feel like that's unnecessary, so let's go to edit, ungroup. Great. So this is all in here. There's a ceiling. Let's unhide that. Display, show all. And there's those, and there's that, and there's that, and there's really nothing else that matters. And we're going to call this just Backstage instead. Okay. Great, so this means we can bring this on over into our level and get it set up. So let's go ahead and jump over. Let's go to File, Open, and jump to Rough Floor Layout, and let's see, what's the last one? 5, 6, really, this one should be deleted. That's gonna mess with me. So let's make a new Rough Floor Layout and make sure we call it 06. So it should load up all of our stuff. We're gonna be replacing this area. File, Save As, before we do anything, and give this a 6. And hide that camera because it annoys me. Come on over here, frame up. This in no way is going to fit right because I pretty much changed the dimensions, so this might cause me some problems because I didn't realize there was that. We might need a longer passage, or I might need to change a few things. So let's just see what happens. So let's go to File, Import, and find Backstage 03. Let's see. I'm not going to use a namespace. Let's see. There it is. And luckily it's in its own group, so we can grab it and move it to the appropriate place. So we don't have to worry about getting it to actually go right. I'm going to delete that. Let's just see if we can't make this work here. I'm going to do D, V, and I know it's not going to work. I'm almost 100% positive it's not going to work. Yeah, see, I'm already in the Pirate Cove. I'm clipping the Pirate Cove. So what I am going to do is, because nothing has been really modeled over here, I'm going to end up going ahead and pushing this somewhere back there and probably in a little bit, and then grabbing all of these parts and then pushing them off to the side. So I'm actually going to grab probably all of, I don't want to mess with anything I've done so far. just try to make this a little bit easier. I'm going to do something like that. Now we want to be really, well, we don't really want to be precise yet. It doesn't matter. But just trying to see. Let's go to a top view, frame up. And there we are. Let's move this in and this down a bit. Once again, I'm not using a grid, which is probably going to bite me, as we're seeing right now, because if I'd done this in like meters or something, we know exactly where doors would have to appear magically. And also now the splits between things are kind of awkward, so some texturing might become a little bit of an issue, but we'll deal with it. We'll make it work. Okay, so that's you. So you over here, I need to grab this section of edges and this section of edges. We're going to WDV them down to there. And I'm going to move them to, whoops, constrain and align. Whoops. We have an edge going around the center. Okay. Let's do this. I want to grab, so those are the vertices. Let's do this a little bit differently. I'm going to grab all of those. I'm going to grab all of these. That comes back around. I only need to grab these two. And I should be okay, right? And no one else is going to get hurt, right? Right? Looks like it. Okay, so now we can DV this to the floor and try to find the right place for it. I'm going to move that there. Just double checking what I'm doing, because this is messing with a lot of stuff and I don't want it to screw up. Okay, it looks like that's pretty good. That's going to be our walkway inside. That's going to be where the door goes as well. We're probably going to have to move things in the future, but hey, it's in. It's where it's supposed to be for the most part. So that's great. So we completed another section of the room. All right, so in the next video, we're going to move on to tackle something else. No idea what that is at this point, but we'll get to it soon enough. See you then. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, give me a like. If you don't like it, give me a dislike and a comment below on why so I can get better. And as always, please feel free to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. So long. Bye.